microphone's hot. I like
Microphones are on. Ready to go.
Let's roll, homie.
I think we're good to go, man.
Are we live and cooking?
We should be. We should be.
Are we live and cooking?
We should be live and cooking. We should
All right. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Common Sense, the podcast. Here with my man, Biz. It's the Biz and Garrett show today.
What's up, G?
What's up, homie?
I'm not a producer today. I'm a guest.
You're a guest.
I don't know how
that means I don't have to be nice to you today.
Hell no.
I mean, like, I can talk. I mean, now I get to talk shit to you on the microphone. I don't just have to give you those evil looks.
Understand, though. Those that you give is those that you say receive.
Yeah. We're just going to roll with this whole thing here. I mean, I like it.
So it's kind of weird, y'all. I normally produce and do all this, so forgive the ugly wires and laptop, but I got to do this, from this side here. So, we're going to make this work.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna roll with it. It's kind of a free for all today. Like, we don't have a real set agenda, which is kind of how this all originated, anyway. So,
well, we did talk about something that we were going to do.
We did,
which is kind of cool. We were going to talk about modern day parenting.
Yeah,
and the two O's.
Yeah, I mean, which will be interesting because you have kids. I don't have kids.
Bruh,
so
I can
like, I can dish out the opinions and the advice, but that's only because I have a lot of nieces and nephews. Well, I have one niece and a bunch of nephews that hopefully some of those little punk asses are listening or watching, and
wow.
maybe a couple of them are on here.
You do have to see them again. You know this.
It's
right?
all right. It's all good.
Okay.
I get to be the cool uncle, Like, I also get to say stupid shit like this because, you know what? It's my podcast.
That is your podcast.
This is my podcast. So before we get too far, though, because I think he might actually be watching this tonight, Sunday was my little brother's 40th birthday.
40th
birthday.
40 is a milestone. Did he do something buck wild for it, or?
No, man. This is my little brother that lives in Hawaii. And
oh, shit. Every day is his birthday.
Yeah, every day is his birthday. He's like minimalist living, no attachment.
Does he live like in a tiny house or some shit like that?
No, he lives in one of the, well, he did live in a van for a while. Like, I mean, when I say minimalist, like, damn, it's impressive. Like, I've learned a lot from it. Like, he literally, like, if he's going to buy a new shirt or a t-shirt, which I'm addicted to buying t-shirts and stuff, he has to get rid of two to buy one. Like, but now that he's not in the van.
Like he switches them out?
No, I mean, like, he'll donate one to, like, Salvation Army or whatever. Like,
okay.
He'll give one away. Like, he always makes sure he's making room so that he can, like, live the lifestyle he wants to. But, like, for... literally, God, man, it was like, I want to say like 2010-ish, man. He decided it had to be earlier than that, but he decided to move to California and get off on his own. And like, he literally lived in the equivalent of like one of those like Home Depot shacks on a buddy's property for like a year or two while I was getting on his feet. Like, he likes to do everything the hard way, but I mean, I admire the shit out of him for it. Like, he figures it out, like living on buddy's property. Same thing. He decided he wanted to live in Hawaii, sold all his possessions pretty much, bought one of those vans that you can convert to live out of, had it all set up, put it on one of his buddy's property. And for like a year, man, he lived out of a van. And like shared their common quarters on this property and stuff.
So he had did he run like an extension cord to power his whatever he's doing?
Man, you're asking the wrong person.
He went to the well and got water and all that.
I mean, like, you're asking the wrong person.
And he did this shit in the 21st century.
I mean, yeah, like, dude, like, when I say minimalist, like, he figures it out, but he lives his life the way he wants to. I mean, like, when it's 110 here and I'm like sweating my ass off working, like, he's the brother that sends me a text like, yo, man, I was like surfing on my lunch break today, and it was like, had to put my wetsuit on. The water was so cold, and I'm like, I really hate you right now. Like, it's 110 and I'm dying in Texas, and you're surfing on your lunch break, bro? Like, come on, man. But anyways, without further ado,
I can't be mad at him. But
happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. I'm sad. We wanted to go surprise him, but he told us to hold off. We're going to go in January, closer to my birthday. Yeah, we're going to go visit him. I've never been to Hawaii. So we're going to go visit him in January, closer to my birthday. he sold me on wait till the whales are here. Because apparently you can like just go underwater and you can hear the whales like talking to each other and stuff.
Yeah, that's
and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm in on that. Like, if you say that's when I need to come,
are you in a submarine armored vehicle when you're going underwater?
No, he just means like you could literally walk out on the beach, walk into the water, put your head underwater, and you can hear the whales. Like singing, talking to each other, whatever. And then whales do.
You become the 8 o'clock news story on the Today Show because your ass went down there and got snatched up by orca.
Nah, man, I'm an Aquarius. It's like Aquaman, you know?
All right, well, I'm a Virgo. We don't do that shit. I'm good on that. I love the ocean. Don't get me wrong. Lately, I've been like loving like when me and wifey went on for our 25th anniversary just last month.
Yeah, 25. Man.
Whew, damn. That'll hold the parenting thing. That's going to be a part of that. But you know, like the ocean, just. But like I knock on wood. As much as I love the ocean, I've never been stung. And I hear all these horror stories about jellyfish.
Oh, there's a good story about that with my little brother.
See, that's why I don't want to go because I don't want to have a jellyfish story. I'm cool not having.
Man, you read the signs when you get to the beach. They tell you when the jellyfish are present. Like.
So all the people that got stung don't read then, right? So that's their fault.
They just decide to get in anyways and take the risk. Yeah, just like shark. If they've got like sharks in there, they put the flags up telling you like it's not safe to go in. Or high riptides, like check the little lifeguard station. Like,
so I should not feel sorry for all these people that are getting effed up in the water because they're just not paying attention to the rules.
I mean, I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time.
Okay.
I mean, when we first moved to Connecticut and we went up there to the beach, I mean, man, I had to be like 13. I think my brother was 10. He got stung by a jellyfish. And you know what you're supposed to do if you get stung by a jellyfish, right?
Pee on it?
Pee on it. I was this close to talking my little brother into letting me piss on his leg on the beach. And man, that would have been an awesome moment. He's like, hell no. The lifeguard even told him like, hey man, your brother isn't lying to you. Like, it would help. And he's like, I don't care. I'd rather endure the pain than let him piss on my leg.
I love all my brothers, but if they whip it out and pee on me, we fighting. Just going to be blood.
We for sure would have been.
Nah, we ain't doing that, man. But, and it's so, as you guys know, we do everything live here from the ICC studios, and there's like cigars and alcohol and all type of things that allow us to loosen up and talk about whatever we're going to talk about. And I see you have a bomb ass cigar here.
You want to talk about it?
Finally got the Nelson Alfonso,
the
maker of and creator of Atabey. This is a very, very, very special cigar.
I've already lit a smaller one, but I did get these for us to like go full all in on this show.
Yeah, I'm never hesitate.
Little appreciation for the producer, the man behind the scenes, but
which he does appreciate.
Yeah, we've got these Alfonsos that. I'm not gonna lie, man. Those number 4s that they brought in when Alfonso came here and did the event here, that's probably the best. That's top 3 cigar I've ever smoked in my life.
I wonder how many people...
From the first one that really impressed me to the go down the cigar journey and try to learn a little bit and whatnot. Like, excuse me, Brandon, when he was over at my house a couple weekends ago, I smoked one with him. They're like, it's definitely a top 3. Like. But that's one of those that, you know, one of the frags gives you, and they're like, you're never going to smoke this again in your life.
Yeah.
Enjoy this cigar. And you're like, okay, awesome. Like, that was one of the best cigars I've ever smoked in my life. And, oh, yeah, shit, you can't get it. Well, up here right now, you can still get these.
For now.
And for now, they're not cheap.
Nope.
They're probably the best cigar around. Like, this is... your top shelf allocated cigars. Like the boxes are amazing, the way they're packaged, the way they're wrapped. I mean, everything is elegant about this cigar.
How many cigars would you say you smoke? I would say daily, but weekly. Or could I say, do you smoke more than one a day?
Not every day. I would say as we get towards the weekend or Tuesdays when I'm recording, I'll smoke 2 or 3 cigars a day. I usually don't go over 3, unless it's like a really long day of something special. Like, you know, I'm getting ready to go to Myrtle Beach on a golf trip, so I'm seeing friends that I haven't seen from Canada in like 3 years. So
are you taking cigars with you?
I'm taking cigars with me.
No, you taking like I do. No, don't let me say that because my boys are watching, so I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
Do you take all night cigars, or you take some bullshit and then keep what you want to the side?
Man, something like this, I'm taking pretty nice cigars with me. Like, I mean, I haven't seen these guys in 3 years, so and not a lot of them smoke. I mean, some of them do. So, I mean, I don't have. I mean, to be honest, I mean, we're at ICC, and I'm not saying that just because we're here. You know, nobody from the family's in here right now. There's no affiliations here other than we're members here.
You notice how he smoothly did those disclaimers?
But I mean, like, I'm just being honest. Like, there's not a lot of bad cigars, I mean, in this curated humidor.
Say bullshit because it's not. I mean, there's certain ones that you keep close to the vest that you might, you know, I share all, but there's certain ones you're like, nah, that's for me.
Right. No, I mean, I did definitely pack like 3 cigars that are going in here that I'm going to smoke. Like, I've got a night flight in there that I'm going to smoke one of the nights. I've got an Alfonso in there, and I've got a Davidoff, which you cannot buy here. So, I mean, I'm not just bragging on their cigars, but
yeah,
I have 3 or 4.
What is my favorite Davidoff? Well, the only one I smoke is the midnight hour. The late hour.
I like that one a lot.
The late hour.
I have some. My favorite one is some stupid, crazy. I don't even know what year it is. Pops was like, "Oh, you've never had a Davidoff? I have a box I'll sell you that like so and so brought over here from like Europe and
on the Mayflower.
Yeah, on the Mayflower, and here buy this box of cigars." Like, yeah, I did one of those. So
now the other thing that you said you was gonna blitz me with is you said we're gonna drink a little on the show. What do you drink? And I really don't drink no more after my 49th birthday. It was bad, but I kind of sip when I smoke. And I said I'm a tequila person.
Yeah.
So you said you had something from the stash that was like ominous. Like,
so we went Alfonso. Excuse me. We went Alfonso on the cigars. So
we're gonna get all the bad habits out the way.
We're gonna get all the bad habits out of the way, and we're just gonna like have a good time tonight. So, you know, hopefully we got some people on here, encourage questions, comments. Like, y'all want us to talk about some stuff? Let's go. And happy recent birthday, Larry Adams, one of our regulars on here.
Larry's always in the building.
Larry's always in the building, and greetings from LaGrange, Missouri. So, yes.
I saw LaGrange. I thought it was a ZZ Top song.
I know, right?
That's my joint. But anyway. So, the tequila.
So, man, I got turned on to this recently, and I brought this up here because I just found out today that I could secure another bottle of this.
Oh, that's why you was able to share it, because now you know you can get another one.
Oh, yeah, I know I'm going to get another one. Otherwise, I'd have been like, all right, we're going to have like one little bit of this, because like, I just found out about this, but it's called 3 Tiers of Llorona.
3 levels of hell?
Extra Añejo. And
I love Añejo. That is like,
and this is the bomb, man. I'm telling you.
My days of Blanco went away while DJing, like, for us. Now you go ahead and pour the poison, because I don't know how much
No, I mean, if we kill this bottle, we kill this bottle.
If we kill this bottle during this broadcast, I'm gonna be on the floor. I can't produce on the floor.
Well, you know,
or maybe I can. I don't know.
We might test boundaries.
We've had worse.
I mean, yeah, no mics have exploded. No, I mean, we're live. We're rocking and rolling. We were on time relatively. Like, you made us a few minutes late just because I made that joke on Facebook.
Were sitting here ready to go 15 minutes prior.
Yeah.
Actually ready to go versus me scrambling in the background freaking out because something's going wrong.
Just because I blasted you live on Facebook and said we were only going to start live because it was the Biz show tonight. You had to prove me wrong. But I mean, I would have done the same thing, bro.
Well, salute, my brother.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
5 episodes in, technically 4, because the other one is a Easter egg. You got to find that.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that anymore.
My bad. So, anyway.
Yeah. Anyways.
So, topic of the day we want to talk about is parenting.
Hold on.
Oh, damn.
Let's not jump the gun.
Okay.
Not everybody knows about Biz.
Uh-oh.
Like, I think we need to give them a little bit of background here. I mean, we got 2 guys from the
janitor at ICC. I take out the trash.
I mean, I'm from Oklahoma originally.
And I'm from Omaha.
You from Omaha.
Yeah. But
2 places that a lot of people give a lot of people shit about.
They do, because they don't think ain't nothing in either one.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got some history here. We can go back. Like, you're, let's say, 7 years older than me, 6.5 years older than me. So
51, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got a little bit of, experience we can drop here and things we can go back and forth on. So, a background as far as I know, born and raised in Omaha. Correct. You were
you studied. I gave you a dossier earlier.
you did like production and stuff with the radio. Like you were like head of radio in Omaha for like 10 years. Like
Correct.
On the radio
station, yes.
Ran a radio station.
Yep.
You were in the Army for like 2 tours, like 8 years.
8 years, correct.
Desert Storm.
Desert Storm. Yep. Which was crazy.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to dive into some of that. I mean, I have a lot of friends that like were my age that had an older brother that was like, you know, like would have been your age, just a little bit older than us, that were in Desert Storm. Like I remember getting like the Desert Storm playing cards, like that had, you know, like the,
I
remember, like, that was the thing.
Versus being it. But so my experience is I went in the Army right after graduation at 17.
Yeah.
Like my grandmother had to sign me in to go. She's like, get the hell out of my house. Where do I sign so he can go? So, all right, cool, whatever. And like the military now, like my son is in the military. He's been in for like 12 years. And
How
like,
many kids?
Technically, so
is that a question I can ask?
Because it's we have adopted kids and we have our kids. So if you look at it all, it's like 6 of them.
Okay.
But they're all, like all my kids are grown except for my two little guys who we adopted when they were babies. So those are the little ones that are left. I still have some time.
And how old are they?
They're 8 and 14.
All right.
So and like the 14-year-old, that's who when we talk about parenting, he's about to feel the wrath of God. But anyway, so the military was the thing where I goofed off in high school until literally my senior year, and I got serious because I got told I wasn't going to graduate on time.
Okay.
And that's embarrassing not to be able to walk across the stage with all your friends and all that because I was just messing around in school. So my senior year, I had to go to night school. I had to go to extra, all that other stuff. And I actually ended up getting on the honor roll my year to graduate. And I was all proud of like, Grandma, look, honor roll. And she looked at me in the face and said, why would I commend you for something that you should have just been doing in the first place?
Yeah.
Lesson number 1. So, but I took no time out to even think about college or what I was going to do, what I was going to be.
Okay.
I was a DJ in high school. I can draw really well, and I was just goofing off, and I didn't take it serious until like May was around the corner. What do I do?
Right.
And my best friend growing up, he was like, "Man, I'm going in the Army." He said, "You want to go in with me, the buddy program?" I'm like, "The Army? Like left, right, left, the Army?" Like,
man, we have such similar stories. This is not even funny.
Oh man, just I don't know. But then when you saw all the different jobs you can do in the military.
Yeah.
It's not just about being a Bravo 13, you know, or just you're not going on. You can do medical, you can do this. So I was like, well, I love gadgets. I can be a computer repair tech. He said, yeah, you just got to qualify, take this test. I'm like, oh shit. I got to take this test. And math was my worst subject. I excelled at everything but like math. You give me numbers.
Algebra killed me, bro. Oh my
God. I took algebra, geometry and all that like 9 times.
Geometry, I killed geometry. Algebra messed me up, man.
So what I ended up doing was I passed the test and I got qualified to be a computer repair tech. And you have a thing called AIT. Once you go to basic training, then you go to AIT, which is your school. And my school was like 1.5 years long. Most AITs are like a couple months.
Yeah.
And I was there
3 to 6 months. Typically.
I was there for 1.5 years. And literally, it's not the technology of now where if a computer breaks.
Special forces of computing.
Bruh, when the computer breaks, you can take a card out and put another card in and it's fixed. No, we had to literally go get schematics, and computers that we fixed were there since the 50s.
Yeah.
Like this shit was old, and I had to figure it out, trace where something was wrong, get a soldering gun, untrace the little resistor or whatever was going on, and put a new one in. And the computer was so big you can walk inside of it. It's called a Streamlight. It's literally like, it was crazy how big and you pull out a card. No, the card was the size of this table. It was huge.
Not like our little MacBook Pros.
No, like
on the fly.
If anybody understands, and maybe you may not know, a 486 computer was the fastest thing out then. That was like we had dot matrix printers. Like this is 1989, 90. So they was, and even then we had modern stuff, but not in the Army. We didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm old, but. Army was fun.
So you said grandmother.
Yep,
so you were raised by your grandparents, I take it?
Mostly by my grandmother. My grandfather had already passed before I was born. My mom and everything was there, but just that Grams wasn't really feeling my stepdad, so she was just like, nah, he's staying here with me. My mom got married when I was like 5. And she met stepdad. She's like, nah, I'm good on him. You're staying here. You guys go do what you do. So I went to my mom's on the weekend, and I was at grandma's. That's where I was literally with my grandmother until I was in high school.
So reflect on all that. I mean, what was that like for you? Like, how do you feel about that? Like looking back on it,
love it. I am who I am literally
because of your
because of my grandmother. Like all that, because she's old school. So my family, even though born and raised in Omaha, my family is from Oklahoma. So she's from this little country town called Wagner. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the Hatfields and McCoys.
No, we're not talking about that right now. After this Texas ass whooping we took this weekend, but.
Well, being that all my uncles went to UNL, to University of Nebraska, but the Grahams and everybody's from Oklahoma. So when Oklahoma and Nebraska used to play back in the day.
Yeah, that was the rivalry.
Oh, my God. In the house, in the living room. It's like, man, what's going on? And I was
WWE in the middle of the living room.
Talking all crazy. But no, we used to go to family reunions back in Oklahoma when I was a kid, and it's in the country.
Yeah.
But it was like the best time where you can actually just... Like, I don't know if they still do family reunions to that effect, to where you actually went to somewhere where there was a lake and the kids were playing, all my cousins and everybody.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. And we did it every year. It wasn't every once in a while.
That's cool. My family's so stretched out. I can think of about 2, maybe 3. I know they were talking about doing another one right before COVID, but I can think of like 2 or 3 where we did that growing up. It wasn't like something that happened on a yearly basis. Like, but then again, I moved every 3 years growing up. So like my dad took a job where he was gone Monday through Friday. He was home Friday night, made baseball, coached, practiced, game, whatever.
Then out.
But then Sunday night or first thing Monday morning, he was on the road from the time I was in about first grade all the way until I was in like 7th grade. About 7th grade, when he switched from the RTC to the FDIC, that's when my dad was around more and he didn't have to travel as much. He also had his first heart attack around then, so he kind of switched over on that. So
that'll slow you down.
I was raised, I don't want to say I was raised by my mom, but I mean, kudos to my mom. Like, my mom took me and my little brother like everywhere. I mean, like, I give my dad a lot of credit because, like, he made it home, and like that was his point. Like, like, I'm still gonna be there for the big things. Like, yeah, he had to go away Monday through Friday to provide when we were younger. When he got out of the banking industry and went into the government, back to the government, he was in the Army as well. But when he switched back over, so. Yeah, that's real interesting, man. Like,
well, I mean, and like, don't get me wrong, I was connected to my mom and all that. So going to my mom's on the weekends, that was party time. Because grandma's was like, we didn't even have a color television. My grandmother had a 13-inch black and white TV. I watched all the dope TV shows like Miami Vice and Knight Rider and Dukes of Hazzard on this little bitty ass TV.
Don't forget Airwolf. I just had a conversation with somebody about this like literally a week ago.
Airwolf, that was before Blue Thunder. That was Airwolf was the joint. But you know what? But this is an era of childhood where you actually your punishment then was you weren't allowed to go outside. Nope, you can't go outside. You got to stay inside. Now you punish kids by making them go outside,
or taking their tablet away from them, or something like that. If you want to hear World War III,
my 8-year-old will melt all the way down if you say no Xbox or no tablet. Man. It's this. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get into this. We'll dive into this.
So. Being that, and the biggest thing my grandmother taught me, she said, look, you need to learn how to play by yourself. You're always so dependent on having to play with somebody outside, be around somebody. She says, you need to learn how to function if it was just you. Not be an introvert, but just, and that's where my creativity came from, because my uncle gave me a Canon cartridge Super 8 camera, and I used to make little movies with my G.I. Joes and my He-Mans and all that stuff. Yeah. And you just had to be creative, because if you depend on everybody else for like validation and acceptance, you're screwed. So she said, look, learn how to do what you need to do. She would even tell me stuff like when I got older and I used to, because I ain't gonna lie, can't even lie. My wife and my mom would always say my grandmother spoiled the shit out of me.
Is she the one that gave you the nickname?
No, mom did. Mom busybody, because my ass didn't always, I couldn't sleep, couldn't take naps, couldn't do anything. I felt like if I took a nap, I was going to miss something.
We are polar opposites. You tell me I have 10 minutes to nap, I'm going to nap for 9 minutes of that.
Well, that was as a kid. As an adult
kid,
now?
Adult, don't matter. No. They used to joke when my parents would take me to parties as a little kid. It was like the search and rescue for Garrett at the end of the night.
Because you were somewhere asleep.
And when I'm done, man, like there is no like second wind. Like when I'm done, I am done. And like, even as a kid, I would crawl my ass, find a closet, whatever. I'd pull jackets down. I'd make me a little bed, and I'd fall asleep in the closet. They'd have to go look for me. Like, they didn't need a babysitter. They just had to go find whatever closet or whatever I fell asleep in, because, like, when I'm done, I was done. Like, I don't want no part of the party. I'm out. I gave you all my all for whatever time I was away.
Nah, man, I was hyper
and
as hell.
I go nonstop when I'm up. And I'm an early morning person, too. So, like, I drove my parents nuts. Like, I mean, I think that's because I rode around my grandfathers when I was real little. Like, my grandfather on my mom's side, man, like, he'd come get me, and, like, I'd go ride around with him. We'd go to the cafe in the morning. I'd hit the oil rigs with him in Oklahoma.
Dope.
We'd hit an apple orchard or something like that. We would go and be about it. And from 5:30 in the morning till whenever, and, like, that is, like, ingrained in me. Like, I have a hard time, like, on the weekends, if I didn't stay up, like, extremely late, like, by that I mean past my bedtime of, like, 10:30, because I'm usually dead out by, like, 10:30 during the week, because I'm awake at 5:30 in the morning typically. But on the weekends, I mean, if I could sleep past 7:30 or so, like, that's pretty late for me. Unless if I stayed up because it was a night out with people or whatever, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, then, yeah, I mean, I'll sleep till 8:30.
I can vibe with that. I'm kind of like that. I don't, if it's a night that I DJ'd the night before, I sleep into, like, my body won't let me sleep past 9. I have to be dead tired working 3 or 4 days straight to do that. But I mean, I just always been a busybody. Always needed something to do, or felt I was going to miss something, or just always found something. And I mean, that's a
so photography is the first thing that they really, like, got you into, cinema, like photography stuff.
I always
like
wanted to make movies because I was a movie nut. I watched so many movies. My mom, that was her big thing on the weekend. She used to like to watch old black and white movies. Like, I grew up on stuff like Abbott and Costello, all the old school Universal Monster movies, and then when all the old school, like, my obsession was the car chasing movies. So when you had shows like Starsky and Hutch, I remember when The French Connection came out, and went and saw that. Just movies was like my crazy thing. And so with that, I just wanted to be a movie maker, and that kind of stuck. Even though I didn't get back into the video thing until way after high school, until like now, but it's always been there.
See, my mom just said, "Where is Garrett hiding?" See?
I knew Mom was going to be there.
Yeah, I knew Mom would jump on here.
But so after the military was dope, it was cool.
So what you went in to do? Computer repair type stuff.
I'll never forget. We were in Germany. I lived in Berlin at the time, stationed in Berlin, and our biggest thing was playing cards. We played spades every day. We were chilling. It was like a Thursday night.
That's like my family's card game.
Oh man, I learned. I
grew up playing spades. My brother, literally, the last night my dad was alive. Last night he was alive. I was supposed to go stay with him, but he was having a good time with my little brother, and I decided to go do something else. I'm so thankful for that night, because my dad and I were like 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. My little brother is a lot more like my mother, and him and my dad were not as close. But that last night, my brother, never growing up, for whatever reason, seemed to have a huge interest in playing cards. And maybe he did, and maybe he got shut out, whatever. Like, you know, like, I was a kid, so, like, reconciling that is a little different. I was the third GLR, which is family initials for firstborn son in my family.
Okay.
So, like, I would play with my dad, my grandfather, and my grandmother, and my mom on my dad's side. And my mom and I would, like, swap out. You know, like, when they taught me how to play spades.
I ran marathon games.
But, like, literally the first night they taught me to play spades, I shot the moon. And my grandfather thought that was, like, the greatest thing in the world. But, like, my little brother, that night he spent with my dad, one of the things my dad taught him that night was they sat and played spades. My dad taught him how to play spades that night. My little brother literally has a sleeve from here to here, and it's like the Doyle deck of cards, and it's got the spade in it, and he's got that, like, from here to here, and that's a tribute to my father.
So did y'all talk trash and everything? Because like,
I mean, as much as you can talk trash with your nana and your grandfather there, I mean, like my nana and my grandfather, man, if I cussed in front of my nana and my grandfather, I mean, I have one of the foulest mouths of everybody. Like, it's amazing. Like, I'm sure I'm going to catch more flack for saying this, but like, it's hard to cuss in front of my nana. Like, I'm still afraid like I'd get something thrown at me. I'm not as offended. Like, my mom is just as offended by it. Yeah, and would tell me to watch my mouth.
You have an automatic filter, especially on grandmothers. Like, if I say I'm gonna kick your butt, the word "butt" is a bad word. I'd get smacked for that.
I mean, I remember when The Simpsons said ass, and it was like. And they said bitch on TV for the first time.
The first time I heard the word son of a bitch was watching an episode of MASH. And Alan Alda said something to this. It's so ingrained, like I remember this. But Alan, we was all sitting around watching TV. And
You're
Alan
talking about
Alda.
MASH, I'm talking about Simpsons. This is funny.
That's how old I am.
I know.
I'm just saying. But he told the doctor, you son of a bitch, you made me remember that. And when he cussed, I turned and looked at my grandma and said, ooh. You hear what he said? And she just looked back down at her Bible. Because, you know, she was reading her Bible.
Yeah.
See, my grandmother had the spot on the couch. When you walk in, she had that was her. Nobody sat in it. That was her spot.
Nobody sat in that chair.
Her tea, her coffee, her Bible, everything. Like, you knew, like, you could sit anywhere on that couch, but there.
That spot, yeah.
That was hers. And he cussed, and she just looked back. But then my grandmother threw me off, though, because all that religion, everything's churchified. You know what show my grandmother would watch on Sunday night after the news? You ever heard of an old school show called Benny Hill?
I've heard of it. I have no idea what it is.
Benny Hill was like from England, and it was like sex. It was sexist. It's like had like Hooters girls with the boobs out and short shorts. It was just like comedy sexist, and she thought it was hilarious. She would watch it all. I mean, like at 8 or 9, I should not be looking at this. It came on like after 11 o'clock, and my grandma thought that was her show. I'm like, something here ain't right. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I say, but I see boobs, and you laughing at the TV. Like, what's going on? She just thought it was funny because I don't know. Just
my dad did the same thing, except it was Beavis and Butthead. Like, I'll never forget this. Like, my little brother and I got in trouble for watching Beavis and Butthead and quoting Beavis and Butthead. And then one night we were sitting in the living room. My dad was already in the bedroom watching TV, and we hear my dad just busting his gut in there, dying laughing. Like, he is dying. And we walk in, and my dad is literally watching Beavis and Butthead, and it was like the great Cornholio episode.
I need TP for.
And I was like, this is so awesome. Like,
I think you get an understanding of him. Before my grandmother passed away in 2000, she was 93, and that last year of her life was the dopest thing ever because I was a man, I was grown, married, whatever. So then she started to tell me stories of when she was young and why she did the things she did with me, like all the understanding when all that came together. It was like my grandmother, you literally would go and hang out at the bar and everything, and all her girls and all that, they had their choir robes with them. So they would be at the bar acting up and literally walk to church when the bar let out and go sing in the choir stand. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. You did that. Like, my grandma was wild when she was young, but she still had Jesus there. But she was like she confessed all this stuff. And I was like, and she would say, I tell you this now because any mistake I've made in life or things that I've seen that didn't work out,
I try to keep you from making.
Exactly. I've already been where you're trying to go, is what she would say. So now I'm trying to give you some heads up. Yeah. And I was like, well, damn, why you wait till I was like 25 to let me know what's going on? You could have told me that. She's like, nah, you wasn't ready yet.
See, I'm going to jump to that in a second. But before I do that, like my mother's mother, my grandmother on my mom's side, she's a lot like that. And I would love to hear some of those stories. I know a few of them, but not a lot of them. She's the grandmother that went she went to the churches where they like roll on the ground and speak in tongues and stuff. And like she went
backflips and hover.
She went hardcore. And I mean, I'll never forget when I was a kid, there was a time point when I couldn't have been more than like 9, 10. And that's generous. Like my little brother's 2.5 years younger than me, so do the math. But I remember her telling us a story about when we were acting up and like white horses and black horses, and like the black horses with the devils were gonna come down and take us away and all this stuff. I mean, like, still hardcore, but like, yet I know about like her going out with my grandfather and my parents when I was real little, and them going out to my dad's banquets and stuff like that with the bankers and stuff, and going to bars and stuff like that. Like, she wasn't always holy roller, but like she definitely had that time period. Like, so I mean, I would love to hear those stories. But
well, that's how do you think our family ended up from Oklahoma to Omaha? Mm-hmm. My grandmother and her brothers were bootleggers. Literally, they did moonshine. They were bootleggers. That's what they did. And
oh man,
what happened was,
I want to get into this.
This is one of the things she told me, because I'm like, how the hell do we end up in Omaha? Like, what are we doing here? And what happened was, her and her
corn whiskey.
My uncle's son, that's her brother, and they one day they were on run from the law. They were getting chased, and they literally went north and they outran the cops to the state line, and they just kept going. And literally, they ended up in Omaha, and my uncle went back, but my grandmother stayed, because then the packing houses, meat packing plants were big, Omaha steaks. But that was the big thing. So my grandmother got on there, and then she worked at this big, huge, fancy hotel, and she just never went back to Oklahoma. And my grandfather, who worked for Union Pacific Railroad as a porter, they met, and boom, kids started dropping, roots started popping, and Omaha was the place. But originally she was a bootlegger. I like, when she told me that, I just raised I had to walk out the room and come back. I'm like, you are the most holiest woman I know on the planet, and you was a bootlegger? Like, what? It's crazy. Like, but she always carried a pistol. Like, my grandmother is the 4'8" version of Medea, before Medea even existed. Always had a pistol. There's a 12, like this. Yeah, just
she didn't play around.
Hell no, man. She literally, one time, me and my stepdad got into it, and he hit me or did something, and I called my grandmother, because he kicked me out the house. Like, get out the house. Me and my stepdad love him to death now. We cool. We're grown. We're cool. But then,
it's
like
kids.
9, he booted me out the crib. I went to the neighbor's house, and I was in my tidy whities. I was in my drawers and a t-shirt. You know, you get out of school, you take off your school clothes or whatever.
Yeah.
Booted me outside.
They pushed you right out on the porch.
Man, outside in a dusty front yard with no grass. I looked like a movie scene. Like, I went over there, called Grandma, said, "Grandma, huh?" He hit me. She dropped the phone. 12 minutes later, my grandmother had an old school Nova with a 350 engine in it.
Ooh, that's one of my favorite cars.
She came up the block sideways, came out. Grams had a 12 gauge. I didn't know. I seen it, but I never thought nothing of it.
You didn't know what it was.
Blew the front door off the house, said, "Where's he at?" He skedaddled at the back. She said, "Pack your shit, let's go." That was like the one time I moved back with my mom. Didn't work. That was like 2 weeks, and came back. And then she stood in the driveway waiting on him. I said, "We can go now." She's like, "No, I'm just, hold on." Okay, we can go now. Mom came home. "Hey, where the front door at?" "Oh, your grandmother must have been here." She called down. "You with your grandma?" "Yeah." "Hey, I seen the shotgun." "Yeah, okay, I got it. Thank you." And that just, my grandmother did not play. She was
man.
No, like, that is how I got straight at the age of 15. I was playing football, smelling myself, thinking whatever. And me, you know, our family likes to debate a lot. You know, like, I'm a little bitty kid. Sunday after church, sitting at the table, my uncles, mom, grandma, it always ended up in this big, loud discussion after church over a meal. It was crazy. And they always get to argue about substance. That's just the way they communicated.
Yeah.
So one day I walk in after it was the day of the football game. And I came home. She asked me a question, and I had all of my proof. Had everything right. I knew I was good to go. And my grandmother said, "So, are you calling me a liar?" I've been lifting weights. I'm a man. I'm all 14. I'm all 14, 15. I'm grown. Today is the day I stand up. I'm standing up to grandma. I said, "You know what?" And I called her mom. I said, "Yeah, mama, yes, you're not." So I had to kind of smooth it. "You're not telling all the truth." No. "Are you calling me a liar in my house?" "Yeah." So there's a chair in the living room that had a belt on it. This belt is a generational belt. It has whooped all of my uncles, my mother, cousins, anybody in our family has been hit with this. It's seen a lot of backsides. So she unlooped it, took it off, went, kind of stretched it. She said, "You got one more time to tell me I'm a liar." I said, "Whatever." Whack, she hit me with it. It really didn't hurt. That was my mistake. I said, "You know that doesn't hurt, right?" And she said, "Oh." She dropped it on the floor and she walked away. This is where it gets stupid. I thought I won. I'm standing in the middle of the dining room feeling victorious. I turn around. Now, you understand, this woman is I'm only 5'6" at the time. I'm 5'8" now, so I'm still short. She comes to here to me. The gun is bigger than her. She takes this shotgun, and my number was like 38, 30, I don't know. She puts it right in the middle of both my numbers, and she's crying. And she says, I tell you what, you son of a bitch. Now, she cussed. So that's when...
You know it's
that's
real.
when the urination started.
Yeah.
Because she cussed. Number two, she has a 12-gauge shotgun, and she's trembling. And she's like, I'm going to tell you something. You will never, ever disrespect me in my home that I have built and made for you and think that you're going to... No, it's not happening. I will take you out. Call your mother. Let her know where the body's at. And then I'll call the people to get you up off my lawn before I let you disrespect me in my house. Man, I grabbed that gun and I said, Granny, no, please don't. She said, now get away from... The way she said it Oklahoma style. Get from around me. Pew! I ran upstairs. I didn't go to the football game that night. I didn't play. I didn't come back out of my room until time to go to church Sunday.
Damn, man.
And I'm going to tell you, I mean, when I had to pee, I literally lifted up the window, peed out the window, went into I didn't eat nothing. I was so scared. And the scariest part of it all was when I came down, she said, hey, we got to go to church, get dressed, go shower, whatever. She acted like nothing ever happened. You want to eat something? She didn't even acknowledge that I've been missing for 2 days in my room, scared.
Lesson was learned.
Man, when I say I was never late coming home, I was always early. When she'd start letting me drive, that is what I'm saying, that kids now have no fear of respect.
Respect.
That was it.
Simultaneously, that came out. Man, I thought my dad, because when my dad was home, you know, my dad would write me letters and stuff. He'd leave me a letter before he left. He was gone for any extended period of time. He'd write me a letter, send a postcard, whatever. But most of his notes had some point in it of like, hey, man, you're the man of the house now. I'm gone. So if your mom needs help with your little brother, whatnot, like, y'all can't be fighting. If I come home and find out that y'all been running amok, your ass is going to pay. Mm-hmm. And I mean, man, I thought my dad's hand was the size of like a first baseman's mitt. Like, for the life of me, like, I never got spanked with belts. My Nana spanked me with, she made me pick out my own switch off a willow tree one time.
I think my grandmother planted one just for that reason.
Won't ever do that again. That's probably one of the worst whoopings I ever took, and it wasn't from either one of my parents. Now, where I was going to go, and I'll lighten it up a little bit because yours got serious there. I have a funny story about getting spanked like that, and I love that my mom's on here for this. This is going to be awesome. So my dad's out of town. Me and my little brother, I don't remember what we did. I remember we were driving somewhere, and we're in the back seat of the car. We were raising hell. We were fighting. You know, we were being brothers, you know. Mm-hmm. And my mom told us, like, all right, y'all keep it up. Wait till we get home. And we kept it up. We're like, whatever. We got home. Mom sent us to our rooms, and then she called me out. I went in there, and, man, she went to trying to wear my tail out, spanking me. And it didn't hurt for the first time. Like, you know, like I had enough meat on my bones. Because I was the kid that was 6 foot tall. I couldn't break 120 pounds till I was out of high school. It didn't matter what I ate, how many trainers I had, how much weight gainer shakes I drank. I couldn't break 120 pounds till I got out of high school. And 6 foot tall. So I remember it like it was yesterday. She's got me. We were in Wichita, in Wichita, Kansas. My mom is wearing my tail out. Like she is, furious. I mean, she's trying to give me the best whooping she's ever given me in her life. I remember it didn't hurt, so I faked it. I faked it. Now,
Mom, you hear this?
Yeah, she knows the story. She hates that I'm telling it right now, but she knows the story. So our room is right next door to my parents' master bedroom. You know, like literally, like you come out the hall, hang a right, and like our door is right there, and there's the room me and my brother shared. Mm-hmm. And I go in, and my little brother's crying. I mean, he's bawling. He's heard the Academy Award-winning performance that I put on in there, and heard her spanking me, and he's bawling. I mean, like, he thinks like his world's about to end. He's about to get tanned raw. And I go in, I'm like, hey man, hey, just fake it. I promise, it doesn't hurt. Like I'm good. And my little brother's like, for real, man. And my mom is like on the other side of the door. You know, she was waiting. And my mom's like, oh, y'all think it's like that, huh? It's funny, huh? All right, we'll wait till your dad gets home. And by the way, now, new punishment. You're grounded. And like you said earlier, you ain't going outside now. Like, that was our freedom, man. We ran the streets. As long as we were home and the street lights came on,
my mom
game
and my
over.
grandma took my bike away from me.
But man, when my dad came home and found out that we laughed at my mom while she was spanking us, whew,
you got a real one.
Yeah, we got a real one. And that's about the last time he gave us a spanking. But from then on, it was grounding because, you know, grounding was a much more severe punishment at that point in time. But I'll never forget that, man. Like, I was dying laughing, and I'm telling my little brother and my mom, she was so pissed and so mad, but she couldn't almost help not to laugh because, you know, it was just one of those moments, man.
Mom got her steps in that day.
Yeah, but she got it in, but, man, it was one of those classic moments.
I mean, we talk about this. Like, I'm not saying that I am and I'm not. I'm not saying that physically assaulting your children is the way to go. But I'll tell you something, though. Kids that got whooped back in the day when they were younger are much better.
We don't act like these kids today, man. This is where I draw the line. Like, this is where you and I can dive off and let's just do it. We said we were going to do this, so let's do it. I don't give a shit. You know, I don't have kids, so this is a hard conversation for me. I've joked. I'm not joked, but I've talked about this before. Like, I almost wanted to write a book, and maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a good writer. So, you know, yes, I have my sister-in-law. I have a beautiful, like, 3-year-old niece. I have like a 7-year-old nephew. And then with my older brother, I have 3 nephews that are like 18, 20, 27. I think I got it right. I've only known him for like 4.5 years, so bear with me if I got any of that wrong. And I apologize, fellas. But, you know, I feel like the biggest thing missing is respect. Mm-hmm. You know, like I talked about fearing my father. I didn't fear him because he beat me.
No.
Or anything like that. Yeah, I thought his hand was the size of a catcher's mitt or a first baseman's glove. But, like, I never got spanked with, like, a belt. I mean, you told a belt story. I never got spanked with a belt. So, like,
let me tell you something. Yeah. Don't take the tablet. Use this. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That'll get you right.
Yeah,
quick.
I mean, but, like, I never got any of that. But, like, having a healthy fear of consequences, I think, is really missing today. I mean, we got participation trophies. Kids are afraid to lose, like in a weird different sense. Like, we didn't like losing either, but like there was a lesson to be learned when you lost. You weren't just rewarded for losing. Like, it was a soak in a little bit. I mean, I remember clearly when my little brother got, like, I want to say second place trophy in like a select league all-star game, and they gave him like a medal, like, and it was nice. I mean, like, the other team got a big ass trophy and whatnot. These kids now get like damn Super Bowl rings for playing rec league. Like, this is stupid. Like, I mean, there's a point of acknowledging achievements and then like going overboard and making every kid feel like they won the Super Bowl. They don't learn to work for anything. They don't learn to have a respect for the hard work it takes to go to that next level.
Entitlement is running rampant.
Yeah,
right
with
now.
no respect. Entitlement with no factor of respect. And I remember my brother won this trophy, and literally walking to the car, he threw this medal in the trash can, and my father was pissed. I mean, he was like, whoa, man, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't want this. He's like, no, that's fine. You don't want it. Okay, I understand that. But you're not going to disrespect the other team that you just played against and all your other teammates and say that your effort is trash. No, y'all played a good game. You lost. You were not the better team today. Now, you don't want to hang that up on your trophy shelf at home. I understand that. You don't want to like put that in your room. That's fine. but you save that till you get home. Mm-hmm. You do that behind closed doors. You don't let everybody else know that you lost like that. Now, you could have given more effort. You could have done X, Y, Z, and I get that you're upset, but you're not going to just walk over here and throw it. He made him go get that out of the trash can, take it home, and he was fine with him throwing it in the trash at home. But you don't do that in front of your whole team and act like that. He literally made him go back and get it in front of like the whole team. I would have done the same. And I was like, you know, respect. Like, I get that. Like, I understand that. But like, let's dive into this, because I know this is something you and I both talked about. Like I said, like, I've thought about it in the aspect of writing a book. You know, my dad, when he passed, I inherited and I have possession of him. Like any of my other brothers are more than welcome to him as well. But my dad wrote a lot too. My dad was a poet. He wrote a lot. Dope. But he also kept these little journals. Not a lot, but a few. And man, I can go back and read those. And the scary thing is like, I can kind of by dates or what he's writing know what age point or where he was at in life. And man, so many of the things that he went through or was experiencing, I did at the exact same time. Interesting. And that's kind of trippy. And it's kind of cool also to like be able to go through that and reflect on that. And I've thought about that over, you know, from the time my father has passed until now, and being a grown man and reflecting on a lot of this stuff. I've thought about it in the sense of like, sometimes, you know, you said something earlier when you were talking about your grandmother, the last year of her life, when she got to share stories with you. And I think there's a point where that's age appropriate, and that you got to learn why she did some of the things she did. Now, I think a lot of parents, and you know, like every family has its own difficulties and things they're going through. So maybe both parents can't be there all the time, or maybe you're in a split up family. Maybe, you know, maybe you're on and off with mom and dad every other week, or maybe you're raised by your grandparents like you were, but you still had, relationships with your mom and stuff. Like, you know, so there's all these different scenarios that this applies to. But to me, I felt like there were certain times in life that I wish either one of my parents had shared certain stories or lessons with me. And maybe, you know, like, I mean, it depends on how far you want to take this or what you want to talk about. Like, you know, like, is weed going to kill you? You know, like, no, it's not going to kill you, but depending on you as a person and your type of person you are, could it lead to other things? Is it a gateway drug? Or you can all of a sudden start shooting heroin? No, like,
I think it's timing too, though, because as a parent, you don't know, is this the right time to mention it to him? Because I don't want to be like, oh, I never thought about that. Let me go do it. Like, oh no, I didn't mean for you to do that. Right. You don't know because what you don't see your children do. Like, think about all the things you did when you weren't at home.
Right.
At school, out and about, and whatever, and then you come home and act all innocent.
Yeah.
You know, like your cussing filter. You cuss up a storm at the house. As soon as you walk in the house, goes away.
Right.
You tried weed, smoked weed, done everything, lost your virginity, whatever you did, that mom and you whatever you don't think they know.
Right.
So as a parent, you're like, you know, even me trying to bring up, you know, I brought up the sex conversation with my 14-year-old, and he looked at me like I was stupid, like, and you didn't know that? I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, what? I was just trying to, he's like, Dad, you're late. And I had to think about it. If you think about kids now and us then, if you just look at television, violence, blood, gore, sex, all that, kids are numb to it. Because that's just another...
Yeah, they've been playing video games with it and everything else since they were
stuff
whenever.
That we didn't see come on TV, or we had to sneak and look at the Playboy channel through the little squiggly lines.
Yeah, waiting for HBO late nights or Skinemax to come on,
whatever.
So you
and you're sneaking to do it to where now...
Or stealing your dad's Playboys, you know.
Oh, yeah, I got some funny stories about that. But anyway, but... Now that's just normal. If a sex scene comes on, my 8-year-old will be like, oh, okay, that stuff. And he'll just look at this tab. Is it done yet? Okay, back to it, whatever. It's not like the ooh and the forbidden or whatever. And I'm not saying if it's a rated R movie, I still try to say like, Oliver, you don't need to watch this or whatever. But it's just the evolution of, and I try to look at it as this, like, okay, I'm getting older. Maybe just it's because I'm older, but no, it is truly an evolution of the way things are now. And with social media and everything else that's out, we didn't have the exposure to stuff like we have now. You know, you can just Google boob and they're there. back then we had to go
these
find a
kids know how to
Playboy.
do everything more than we do online. I mean,
yeah.
they've had a tablet in their hand since
Since
they were born.
My granddaughter is 1.5, and I said, "Hey, you want to see my phone?" Man, she unlocked it, did everything, found stuff I didn't know. I was like, "Wait a minute, time out. What are you doing?" And her mom just looked at her like, "Yeah." I'm like, "She can't even talk right yet, and she's more savvy with this thing. And this is what I do for a living."
Right.
Think about that. They're born in the age to where they don't even teach
instant access.
They don't even teach cursive handwriting anymore.
Right.
So my question is, how do today's kids or whatever learn how to sign their name? Do they? Or do they just print it? Or do they just get the PDF?
There's an app for it, bro.
That's crazy.
There's an app. You can pay a dude, like I've literally, maybe not a dude, a guy, a girl, whatever. You can literally download an app. I've literally saw this ad off to create your signature. They'll help you design your signature. Like I remember when I wanted to be a professional baseball player, and like as a kid, like I used to play around with the junk balls we had and like figuring out what's the coolest way I can sign my name on here, and like how can I do it on a baseball. And that kind of like dictated. And like really, I got my cursive handwriting. Like a lot of people say, like I write like a girl. Like
I got that too a lot.
Because you know what? It was my mom that was home. If something was getting signed that gave me permission or whatever, it was my mom. It was not my dad. If I had to copy my dad, I can do that in 5 minutes. Yeah. I can write sloppy cursive like my dad did all day long. My mom, dude, my mom was an artist. My mom took calligraphy classes. Yeah, calligraphy was dope, mom's handwriting is some of the prettiest you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it's literally calligraphy. So like to copy my mother's signature, that took time, skill, and effort. But I mean, like kids don't even have that today. Like they wouldn't even bother. They're like, I can go online and like print this off and like trace it or something. Like we didn't have all that back in the day. Like you couldn't do that. But like where I was kind of going with that earlier was like, you know, I got to a point where I thought about writing this book or whatever, and it was kind of like lessons. And you know, it's a question I bring up sometimes with guests, and I plan to bring up more, like depending on the guests and, you know, if they do or do not have kids, but like lessons I wish my mother or father, however you want to phrase this, would have taught me earlier or would have told me about earlier. You know, like there's certain things, you know, I think about like in life where they're all decisions that make you who you are, or, you know, and there's certain things that you just, you know, once my dad died, being kind of a father figure to my little brother, you know, that put me in a weird position too at times, you know, trying to give him, do I give him big brother advice? Do I give him fatherly advice?
You know, he buck against it when you kind of did the fatherly stuff?
Sometimes, man. And sometimes, you know, it like drove a little things between us at times. We're super, super close. Like there's not a person other than my wife that I'm even remotely that close to than my little brother, by any means. And we're so different, but yet so much alike. And like, there's certain things that you have to learn on your own. You know, there's just lessons in life that like, no matter how many times you're told, you're just going to have to learn it on your own. Like, you know, there's those things, but then there's other things I feel like I wish they'd have told me, or I wish we'd have had more open conversation about, you know, like at a younger age and stuff like that.
So your mom is here. Have you ever asked her that? Like why? Or
we've had conversations about some of that, but you know, it wasn't always my mom. You know, there's certain, as a man, there's certain things that are conversations you have with your dad.
Yeah.
There's certain conversations you have with your mom. There's certain times mom saves your ass from having certain conversations with your dad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like this goes both ways, and it kind of goes back and forth here. And there is no right answer, but I feel like a lot of times if parents shared more, and not just a, hey, don't do this, because they've already done it. You know, there's a point in my life where I got in a really bad wreck when I first got my license. Told this horrific lie to my dad about how I got in a wreck. I was avoiding a dog. No, I was drag racing. I was drag racing through a neighborhood, going over 100 miles an hour. I should have died, me and the guy in the car, and we didn't. But my dad told me, when we got back in the car, I told him, he's like, all right, I'm going to ask you again. Tell me what happened. I told him, he was like, all right, listen. Shut your mouth. When we get done with the cops here, we're going to go home. And when we get home, you and I are not done. We're not done in the sense of when you're ready to tell me what really happened, I'll help you out. But until you want to tell me what really happened and come clean with me, I ain't helping you, man. I ain't helping you. Because he goes, you know what really happened? X, 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 X,
He
and
already knew.
X
He already
is
knew.
what happened.
Like he was there.
Like, I mean, dude, I thought he was psychic. And I'm shaking, and I'm like, no, that's not what happened. I told you what happened. Like, are you calling me a liar? And, like doing all that stuff. My dad's like, yeah, man. Like, this is what happened. And I mean, called it to the T, exactly what happened. Nah, your buddy, Chris Lucas, I hope Brandon's listening to this. He was paying attention earlier. So, my boy's in Connecticut, he told me, like, my buddy, his family had a little more money. They all had these fast cars. I just got my Camaro out of the shop, and I was like, we had this road called Great Swamp Road. It was like 4 miles long.
Listen to the name of it, Great Swamp Road. Like an accident's not going to happen.
Yeah, and every quarter of a mile, there's a stop sign. And it's like a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit all the way down this road.
So y'all went stop sign to stop sign.
At the end, it Ys. And about a half mile before the Y, there's a big red barn. And I figured as long as I got to that red barn, I had time to slow down. Well, sure as shit, we were coming back from shooting pool. And I told my buddy Frankie, hey, put your seatbelt on, put our seatbelts on. And sure as shit, when I pulled up the first stop sign, he went around me into the oncoming lane and tried to pass me. I was like, nah, we ain't doing this again. So I started slamming through my gears, man. And we were getting after it. We ran every stop sign, 83 IROC Z28. And we went at it, man. And next thing I know, I'm looking up and I can see the red barn in my rearview mirror. You
already went.
And I'm like, I either have to run that, and now I'm in the oncoming lane because I had gone back around him. I'm in the oncoming lane. I'm like, I got to take this corner. I mean, I was downshifting from 6th to 5th, trying to take this corner that is literally a Y.
That big heavy ass car is going to go straight.
And I turned it sideways between a retaining wall and a sidewalk. I left my ground effect paint on the top notch of a mailbox post.
Jesus.
Came down, landed about 3 feet from an oak tree, about 4 feet in diameter, and about 3 feet from this guy's living room. I mean, I got like 18 tickets from this one accident. And and it's like when I talked to my dad, he's like, no, he literally, and I said a dog ran in front of me. I tried to swerve to miss the dog. Yeah, that clearly didn't happen at like 100 miles an hour.
I'm about to say 35 miles an hour shouldn't have caused that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I had to stick my baseball bat that was in my trunk of my car in the fan motor to get the motor to stop running, even though the keys were in my hand. That's how fast the car was going when I wrecked it. And we walked away with like whiplash and a couple little glass scratches on us. I mean, like, guardian angel for sure. But like, the point of that was, though, like, I thought he was psychic. No, he wasn't psychic. My dad had already done all this dumb crap that I was doing at 16. But, again, some of these lessons you have to learn on your own. But like, I just feel like there are times that there are stories or lessons that could be taught by just sharing a little more information. You know what I mean? And I guess that depends on each and every kid as a parent. Again, I don't have kids. It'd be interesting your take on this. But like, I just feel like, I've always thought about like, I'm gonna write this book and just tell it all. Like, this is what I did. This is what I've done. This has been my experiences with X, Y, and Z. And put that out there. Maybe someone gains knowledge from that. Maybe, if they knew a little bit more, would it change the outcourse of what they chose to do in life? Like, if I'd have realized that I was that into special forces and learning stuff, would I have been more open to doing like ROTC type stuff and like being better prepared when I did go into the military to where like that would have been easier? Like, would I have pushed harder to learn another language or stuff like that, like things that would truly help you? Or, like my big thing when I joined the Navy and not going to college was I was burnt out on baseball and I wanted to travel and see the world. And I didn't want to do, like, my family had enough money that they could have sent me to college. I probably would have had to go, if I didn't take a scholarship, I would have had to have gone to like a junior college for a little while, figured out what I want to do, get my basics out of the way, and then I could have got my degree somewhere. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to go through doing all that, not knowing and having a clue what I actually really wanted to do and waste their money. When really, if it had been imparted on me more of like, hey, that's what the first 2 years is about, is just getting your basics out of the way. You can still figure out what you want to do. Because in my mind, it was like, oh no, you have to know what you want to do, like right out the gate. And like, if you change this, it just costs them more money. So in my head, it was kind of like a money thing. But like, you know, and then when I came back from the Navy, because that didn't work out, and that's a whole nother long story. But, you know, my dad's like, well, you got to get a job, whatnot. You want to go to community college? And like, he kept trying to push me to school. But then like, by that time, I got a real job in corporate America, and I started moving up the ranks there. And I'm seeing my friends that went to college, and they're coming out with degrees, and they can't get a job. You know what they're being told? Hey, you have no real world experience.
Oh. Okay.
So like, they're telling them, like, you don't have any experience. Like, yeah, great, you have this great degree and stuff, but you don't have any experience. So like, I'm making triple or double at least of what they're even being offered, and I'm way higher than them. Like, hell, some of them I would have been their boss. And you know, you're seeing this as you know, a young 20-something-year-old, and it's like, why? And like, you know, there's a certain part of me that wishes I still had that college experience, but you know what? I got the street college experience, and
well, right now,
you know, I did different things instead of that, and I got more real world experience. So you know, there's a lot of different things
employers are looking for.
Yeah,
the degree is great. I've been told a lot by people that a degree is nothing but you showing that you have commitment. You have the discipline to sit somewhere for 4 years or 8 years or whatever. Now, if you're a doctor or a specialty thing, I get it, but I read a lot. And Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, says that C students hire A students. I mean, like we was talking about with Tony Hill, all this, just think about it. If I own a company and if I make widgets, I know how to create a company, the basic structure, but I don't know how to create a widget. So I'm going to hire somebody whose specialty is making widgets.
Right.
That person with the degree, hey, can you come make my widgets better than I can? I don't know how to do this. I mean, it's just what they call delegation. I learned that in radio, really bad delegation. But as far as kids go, it is a struggle. You know, I'm talking to my 14-year-old, and I'm trying to get him to realize, like, yo, man, your senior year is right around the corner. Even though he's only in the 8th grade, when I say that time from here to graduation is going to fly by, and if you don't have a clue of what you want to do, I've had this conversation with 3 other kids. Like, that's why my son is in the Army. You know what the hell he wanted to do. And he's like, man, you better, now he jumps out of airplanes. Literally, he's 82nd Airborne, killing it, and now he's actually in Space Force. He got out the Army.
Nice.
He's the E7. Now he's in Space Force, high ranking. This dude has his whole retirement planned out. Like, he went from just lounging around the house to where this dude is set. Like, he knows exactly what he wants to do. But, I mean, it takes time to figure out your plan. I mean, I'm 51, and I'm still trying to figure out a couple things because the human being is one of the only animals on the planet that can change its course at any time it wants to. Everything else has DNA programmed to where birds have to fly south, the bear has to hibernate, whatever. But we can just get up right now and be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to do something else. And with that free will, it comes a lot of what ifs. How do we do whatever? And this is a different world. You got to think about this now. This is a world to where I look at TikTok videos and stuff, and me and my wife were having this conversation this morning where now you got people rubbing knockout juice on door handles and all this other stuff that's happening.
NyQuil chicken.
Yeah, I just seen a video of some kids over in Plano fighting over a chocolate bar, and they tore a Hooters up. Fighting, and just everything is just wild. Like me, anytime, like in my day, cripping and blooding, that's when all that started. I was around when the crip, like literally, we went to school on Friday. Everybody was on the school bus, chill. Then the movie Colors came out. And on Monday, after the weekend, one half of the bus was blue, one half of the bus was red. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And me, I was like, I ain't, out of fear. My fear was, I'm not participating in none of this because I want my grandma to kill me. I don't want to do nothing. And I never did it. And that's the one thing about my grandmother in respect. They were in the shootings and all the violence and all the gangbanging and all that stuff started in Omaha. Like, our block was off limits because of the respect that all these kids had for my grandmother, and nobody messed with me or like enticed me to be in it because they didn't want to answer to her. These are dudes that are shooting and killing other dudes, but they had a respect for her that they're like, nah, busy. He's not. Nah, he ain't in this. Leave him alone. So I was like the DJ for all the parties. And when the party was over, before all the stuff, hey, before we kill each other,
let's let Biz get out.
Thank y'all. Peace. I'm out. And I left, and then they went to go shooting each other up. It was just, that showed me that respect goes a long way. and that's all you can have for yourself. And I think that's the problem, that the validation of social media and people that these kids and adults have to live up to has the whole world whacked out, to the point that how do you rescue your children from it? That's not reality. This is reality television. This is a product that was created because all the actors in Hollywood went on strike. So Hollywood said, okay, cool. Let's go get a whole bunch of non-SAG actors, and we're just going to throw them in a situation and see what happens.
Yeah, and everybody can watch it unfold in front of them.
And now that's normal television.
And people think that that's people's normal lives.
It's like the Truman Show. You ever
it's
seen
like
that
Real
movie?
World. Like, I remember when MTV Real World first came out.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I got a partner of mine that was on many seasons of the Real World.
You put like these people, like a bunch of testosterone-filled dudes
And let's see
and
what happens.
chicks, and like you're just like, let's see what happens.
Think about this.
But people grew up thinking like that's what it's like when you get out of the house. Like this is what goes down in an apartment or a house when you move out. That's what the world's like. And
You mentioned The Simpsons earlier, and you know The Simpsons always predicts the future, which is crazy. But in the 80s, they used to have these movies of underground fights, like with Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting in a parking garage, or the Kumite and all this other stuff. Guess what that's called? UFC.
Yeah.
Now it's sanctioned. They're getting paid. Like all the stuff that we saw, the barbaric stuff that's happening now is like
Gladiators now. We got modern day gladiators.
It's the reality. I got a friend at home, Houston Alexander. He was in the UFC. He was actually the last person to fight Kimbo Slice before he passed away. And Houston is bare knuckle fighting. I'm like, dude, like, I mean, that's where he belongs though, because he beats people up. Like Houston was a very good advocate of helping my kids get raised. When my oldest son thought he was going to be in a gang, and I jumped him out. He said, I'm in the gang. They jump you in, cool. I whooped his ass and jumped him out. Then I messed around and told his uncle Houston what's up. And I'll never forget it. We was watching fireworks, and Michael's like 6'3", already big, but Houston is built like a shark, all muscle. So, and he talks like, hey, so I heard you was in the gang. And before my son can say, no, dad got me out, Houston hit him in the chest. And even I was like, damn. Okay, Houston, chill out, bro. I think you broke his thorax or something. Like he got it, he gets it. He was like, my son was like, damn, I said I was out. Why they keep beating me up? He said the gang didn't even beat me up this much. I'm like, well, tell you what, I will say this. My grandmother said, I'll take you out before I let the streets take you out, meant that they love you enough to do whatever. Yeah. And I'm not saying, like I said, it's not condoning violence, but when I say that message that somebody loves you that much to assault you, to get you to understand that we're not playing, that we're trying to protect you. And we talk and laugh about it all the time now as an adult. He says, I get it. He has sons of his own, and it's like, but he's still raising them in a much different world. This is in the 2000s when I was raising him, which it was already bad. But now it's really,
but I mean, you get all
influential.
And I mean, you hear about bullying and hazing and all this other stuff.
And these kids snap, they get a hold of dad's gun and all that, and that's what I'm saying.
But it's like so crazy. Like I remember growing up, like it was just like trying to have a fair fight. Like, hey, 1-on-1, let's roll. But like when I was in first grade, I moved to Wichita, Kansas.
5 hours from Omaha.
Yeah, Wichita, Kansas. It's the worst place I've ever lived in my life. I went from Claremore, Oklahoma, being a vice president of the bank's kid in little, suburban Claremore, to Wichita, Kansas, living in a duplex right across from Beach Elementary. And I'll forget it. Like, it was not 100 yards from the front door to my front door. And 2-3 days a week, I couldn't make it to my front door without getting jumped. I mean, I went to an almost all-black school, and I got my ass beat weekly. I mean, weekly.
For no reason? Just no reason?
Just getting jumped, just for the hell of it.
Hey, Garrett, it's 3:30. You know what time it is.
Breaking in the new kid. Yeah, whatever. And I remember I asked my dad for a skateboard for Christmas, and I got an Eddie Caballero skateboard. And man, first week I rode at school, put it in my locker, came out. Here came that group of about 4 of them that whooped my ass every damn week.
They take your skateboard.
I picked that skateboard up, knocked 2 sets of teeth out,
there you
and
go.
The other 2 went on. I almost got expelled. My dad came into the school talking to the principal. You're going to expel my son? Really? Like, y'all have to like think that we like beat him at home. Like, he comes in with a black eye, bloody lip, busted nose every damn week. Like, y'all have a crossing guard from the parking lot to our house, and no one ever stops this. He gets jumped weekly. And you want to expel me? If you expel my son, you're like, I will own this school. And then I remember when I got in the car with my dad, he was like, hey man, is that all you wanted that skateboard for? Because I knew you didn't ride skateboards. I said, yeah. He goes, you could have told me I'd have bought you a cheaper skateboard and you could have got more for Christmas. Instead of me getting this $150 at the time Eddie Caballero skateboard that was like my entire Christmas. But you know what? That Eddie Caballero skateboard saved my ass. And then I go from there to moving to Olathe, Kansas, which was like a breeze. And then I get to Connecticut, and it's like, again, new kid. Let's test him out. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm like, man, when these little like kids in Connecticut started trying to jump me at the bus stop and test me out, put me on the pond when it froze over, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I've been getting my ass whooped since first grade by grown ass looking men that were actually my age or a year or two older than me. And y'all want to mess with me? Just tell me it's only one or two of you, because I'm used to like 3 or 4 of you coming at me. Like, and man, I wrecked shop. Like, I still remember those scars are Ryan Pulaski's braces. Like, I mean, like, it was just a joke, but like, you know, learning all that growing up and like being put in those different environments, like that's a whole.
See, now it's not even physical anymore; it's mental.
Yeah, but like, and they do all these different things. But I mean, I remember when I made varsity in football in Connecticut, and like, you know, even when we were JV and we'd go to football camp, and like, you know, you get hazed a little bit, but it was part of the process. Like, it was nothing that was gonna harm you. It was just like, hey, this is kind of like how it goes. Like, if that happened today, man, there'd be lawsuits and everything else. Like,
it still happens,
kids, yeah, but I mean, like, to a degree. But I mean, like, what I'm saying is, like, the world is so worried about some of these, like, harmless things because, like, certain people took things too far. But, like, some of that, to me, is healthy.
Rite of passage?
Yeah, like, some of this is like a rite of passage, and it's, like, a little bit healthy. Like, you shouldn't come in thinking you are the baddest dude on the planet. Like, you should have a little bit of that to be a little more humbled. Like, everybody can tell when like a certain person walks in the room, like, you can always tell the dude that talks a whole lot and has never really had his ass kicked. Like, everybody knows that dude. Like, he talking, and he may be a big dude, but you can tell like he has never actually got his ass kicked. And some kids just need to get their ass kicked once to, like, you know, have a little bit of respect and a little bit of humble pie.
I agree. Like, I've seen so many, especially moving here to Texas, to Dallas. I have seen I've never, the first time I seen a parent apologize for their kid for scolding them, I damn near lost I was like, I almost interrupted their conversation. Yeah. I'm like, pardon me, are you apologizing to this child that just disrespect you like crazy over this Lego set? I was at Walmart. Well, I'm sorry. Which one do you want? Did you just say I'm sorry? Legos cost $800, and this kid is throwing a fit and then threw the box on the floor. Yeah, and my own kids look like, oh yeah, he's stupid. I like, yeah, like what's Gary Vaynerchuk said it best. He says, parents, do not complain about your child being entitled because you created that monster.
Yeah, that's for real.
That's just straight. I cannot see. Well, if you did, like, man, oh my God, there was a high school in Omaha. Omaha West Side or something, Millard West, and we did foster care for many years, so I had a couple foster kids that went out there, and I drove out there to pick up one of the kids. First of all, when a little girl comes up to me, she's like, oh my God, your hair is curly. I'm like, yeah, it looks just like my poodle's. Can I touch it? I was like, no. I just want to, like, young lady, I will beat you up. Get the hell away from me. Don't touch my hair. What the fuck's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? Like I've seen that on TV. I'm like, wait a minute. This is the 21st century. So you're trying to tell me the only black people you've seen is on television? It can't, but Omaha is so segregated like that. It is, I damn near believe
I've never been to Omaha, so yeah.
Yeah, but if you go to the student parking lot, it looks like the Star.
Okay.
You got 9th, 10th graders driving Lexuses.
It looks like Plano.
Yes. Yeah. And Mercedes and all that other stuff, like it's no big deal. They ride and jump out like it's no big deal. And if they were to cause a car accident, their parents would come and argue that it wasn't their child's fault. And then you wonder why when they don't get their way, I'm just going to be blunt, then they put on a freaking trench coat and go shoot up a mall to act the fool. When they don't, a lot of these kids, when they don't get their way, that's the way they know how to act out. And then, oh, he was a good kid, he was just a little disturbed. No, his ass was spoiled and ignored.
Yeah.
You're not paying attention. You're not seeing the signs. This has nothing to do with getting whooped with a belt. This just means pay attention to your child and make sure they understand that there are consequences to certain actions and you don't get everything you want. Yeah. Children are not being taught to earn anything. Nothing. My kids, hey, still to this day, my 14-year-old, I said, hey, that pair of Jordans and that bike you want, we're going to get it for your birthday. Came back off of our vacation, like, you didn't take out the trash the whole week we were gone? You ain't get nothing. Well, what about my birthday? I said, hey, happy birthday. You're a year older, but I ain't getting you nothing because you don't receive unless you do the work.
Yeah, that kind of goes to this thing we've talked about a lot up here. I've had a lot of good conversations about this. Brandon and I have had a lot of conversations about this. I don't know if you and I have had this, but there's a lot of people, no matter what age group you want to talk about, that feel like participating means like that you're involved, like that you're adding value. You can participate and not add any value, but can you participate and add value? Like that goes across like many platforms of like business, friendship, everything. Like
you got to teach them what like value adding is.
You got to teach value adding, and like whether that's in your profession, friendships, relationships, whatever. I feel like right there with respect, that's the other thing that is really lost in some of these generations is like, they think just because they participate that they're adding value. Like, no, you're not adding any value. Like, what did you do to like add any value to this? Like, yeah, I saw you participated. Like, I can participate and raise my hand. Did I add any value to this conversation or our friendship? No. Like,
well, so in school, I wish they would in my day. I think they're starting to get it now. I wish they would teach entrepreneurship should be a class course.
For sure.
You should be able to start a business. When I got my degree in photography, I already had a photo studio already. I just literally went to go get a degree in photography to understand lighting a little bit better. And I wanted a degree in something. So it was cool. But they taught us how to they taught you how to take pictures and do all this stuff. But there was no class curriculum on how to take that skill they taught you and what to do with it as far as a business. Yeah. I ended up teaching and putting together a 2-week course on business. Well, you already got a business. Help us out. Like, y'all don't teach this? Like, actually how to start a photo studio or a wedding business or a video like, that's not even offered. How
to manage your money, any of those things.
None of that.
Things that actually apply to the real world. I think that's one of the biggest things messed up with our education system right now is it's so stuck on just teaching you A, B, and C of this is what we've always done. But, half of these things you don't ever use in real life. Like, if you were going to go down this certain path, okay, fine. But not saying you have to set every kid's path like China. Like they set the kid's path. Like that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing.
This is your job.
But okay, I think our education system needs to broaden a little bit and like teach real world shit.
But you need to also manage expectation because when COVID hit and everybody literally, there's so many young people that said, man, screw this job. I quit. I'm about to be a YouTube star. Everybody thought just because you sign up for YouTube.
I'm a TikTok star.
And boom,
here we go.
I'm going to be it. Like one thing I learned literally just recently because my kids are very, very, very talented football players. But that doesn't mean that you're going to make it to the NFL. And if you think about it, somebody put this in perspective for me that blew my mind. I never thought about this. How many college athletes play football? Let's just say football.
Okay.
There's millions. All of them want to go to the NFL. There's a 53-man roster, and they're only picking up 1 or 2 players a year. So those millions of kids, how many are going to make it into the NFL? They're not. Your dreams of the now you can go somewhere to, but it's like, but you go all the way through high school, D1, whatever school you go through, and these kids are led to believe that you're going to go get that money.
And taught nothing else.
And taught nothing else. Nobody falls back on, like, I'm telling my children now, you have to figure out what your plan B is. I have to paint it as plan B,
and I think
to not destroy their dreams of making it. But just in case this doesn't happen, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, and I think we've shown that a little bit too in some of the episodes we've had with some of the guests. You know, we had Tony NFL Hills and we've had Jonathan Scott on here that like these guys were like that 1%, and they play. Not only did they play in the NFL, they played for like a decade.
Yeah,
they won Super Bowls. Yeah. Like that's not common. But what did those two also have in common? What is their passion now? Coaching, mentoring, and teaching others about finances and financial betterment, because they didn't even have that. Like, and those are guys that not only succeeded in the NFL, they were both very well educated at the University of Texas, which is really hard to get into for anybody that doesn't know. Like, you got to be the top of your class if you were not given a scholarship. And even when you're there, like, I mean, you can make all the athlete jokes you want. These guys have major degrees, and they're super smart individuals.
But because of validation, that part's not mentioned.
Yeah, it's not mentioned. And even with their degrees, they still went into the NFL, and they still felt lost. And it gave them a passion to want to do this after their NFL career. Like that, I mean, Jonathan Scott wrote a book to help the younger generation that is in that same path. He really wrote it for like 2% of people. And, you know, like when I first read his book, like it kind of like, I don't want to say put me off, but it was like, this doesn't just apply to NFL guys. I mean, I didn't play in the NFL, but like it was geared towards that and written towards it. But I mean, I get it. That's what he relates with. But at the same time, it was like, man, this applies to so many people. Like, I mean, like I didn't know, still don't know half of this stuff. Like, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I try to expand my knowledge and be around these people and like learn from them, because there's so much more I could be doing. There's so much more I want to do.
The one thing I learned coming to the cigar lounge is that the one skill set that anybody, not just stoic men, anybody, is the power of shh. I teach my kids, shh. What's that, Dad? Shut up and listen. I've sat here and I've sat among million gazillionaires to the common guy that does the trash. And my wife used to get so sick of me coming home. Okay, what did you learn at the lounge today? From the Frakes, I learned about stock and oil. I've learned stuff from Doug about insurances. I sit with Jonathan, and me and Tony have been in contact ever since the podcast about finance. It's just sometimes you have to learn to be quiet and be that one in the room to just absorb. And when we go back to when we're talking about kids in society, everybody's trying to be. So the one lesson I learned with that, when I first got in the radio, I was the on-air personality. I was the biggest DJ in Omaha, DJing stuff, whatever, and I became the drive-home DJ, and that's how I got my job. I was so popular as a DJ when the competitor when I got on one radio station, the competing radio station, literally Cloak and Dagger, came over and be like, hey, psst, we want an urban radio station. We want you to head it up because you're the most popular dude in the city. I'm like, you normally have to have a degree, do internships, and all this other steps to get to program director. No, I went from drive jock to here's your own radio station. They gave me nothing. Here's a building. Here's the key. You go on air in 3 weeks.
Go.
I was like, you had to make it happen. But when I told my boss, who's my mentor and great friend, Eric, he was just like Eric Johnson. He's like, so are you ready to be not in front anymore? Are you ready to be behind the scenes? You won't get all the upfront accolades. You won't get all the attention. You won't get all the rah-rah. You're going to be the person in back now building the personalities like yourself to take your place. Can you handle that? And at first I was like, I had to think. I'm like, shit, I ain't going to be the man no more. I'm not going to be in front. But then he says, now you have to think about this. You are the person that creates those images. You are in charge of the sound, the feel, the look, everything of that radio station. You are responsible for that. You are the show, but they just don't see you.
Yeah.
But there's more power. Basically, he says you are now the puppeteer. You are the guy that produces and makes everything. If you can take your ego out of it and realize the power of being behind the scenes, you'll go far. And when he told me that, I said, bet. But now I was a competing station with him. He said, but we're still going to kick your ass in the ratings. And when he said that, he said it jokingly, but it was game on. Oh man, it took me less than 6 months and we didn't have a good signal. They had 100,000 watts. To get our radio station, you had to like lean your head out the window with tinfoil, some gum, and like whatever, and we still killed them. With no support, I learned networking that other urban radio stations all over the world said, yo, there's a little black radio station in Omaha, Nebraska. What do you need? I'm like, I need everything. We went from having nothing to I put on a show within a year that had Rick Ross, B2K, I mean, like all these names, and I got them off no charge, just free, just because they believed in what we were doing. To where we did that every year, to where then we outbilled the number one station. We became a problem competing against the stations that was in our group. We already crushed across the street. Now we're causing stress in the group. They're like, yo, we need you to slow down. I'm like, why would I slow down?
Yeah.
We're here to do what it is.
So what got you out of that? Why'd you?
Oh, I got fired.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking. Actually, no, I did. So they downsized. So radio, if you didn't know. So
it's changing drastically. Like, I mean, what happened with 97.1 recently, I'm like, damn.
They downsized.
Y'all are doing my podcast on the radio now. Like, man, y'all just decided to like, music does its own thing now. Yeah. And
they laughed.
People are just going to talk about whatever they want to talk about.
I said, y'all need to watch out for this.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay to listen to what you get for free? I said, when you take the commercials out of it because they're paying it, a lot of people. They didn't believe me. But what happened was they just looked at budgets. Because we were slaying so well, making $1 million a year, they said, wow, you got like 15 people on your staff, but I can do the same job with 3. So it's called voice tracking. So basically one person would come in, pre-record. So because when you program the radio, you program all the music and everything the day before it actually airs.
Right.
So somebody can go and look on the computer, insert voice here, insert voice there, insert voice here, and they pre-record everything. So you got one person voice tracking for several stations, maybe changing their voice. Their name is different on every station. Right. So we went from 15 people in the building to 3 people. And of course, cut your biggest expense, which was what? My salary. They hired my understudy, put him on. He was just so elated and happy to be that guy on the radio that he just took it or whatever. It was a little stab in the back, but no big deal. But it hurt because I literally built that radio station
from the ground up.
My own personal music collection went on the air. I had to find the radio edits for everything. They didn't even give me music. I had to literally go. This is back when ripping CDs was in.
Yeah.
I had to rip one song, title it, put all the information in, go downstairs to a server, put the CD in, rip it, and go back upstairs per song. And I had to load this library with 600 songs. And
that constantly changed too. It's not like it just stayed the same.
Pretty soon we were able to download streaming and made life easier. But you know, you created it, and it's still there. That station is still there, 106.9, doing its thing. We went through changes. I designed the logo, everything. I bought they gave me a checkbook. It's like, hey, the company needs a vehicle. Here's 30. Don't spend no more than 30 grand. I went and bought, the first vehicle we bought was a Chevy Suburban, and I put like 12 15s in the back. Like, because we did a promotion that win this contest and we'll drive you to school that day. So you pull up with the radio station Suburban, it beat so hard. We set off all the car alarms. People thought thunder was coming. It was like, and this kid would get out the car like, yo, 97.3 took me to school today.
Didn't know it was the Kid or Biz.
Yeah, my car had that too, but it was. And here's a funny thing: 3 weeks after we got that car, somebody broke into it with a chainsaw and took all the stereo equipment out of it. Oh, Omaha. Then I bought a Hummer. I think they still got that old thing, but it was a great time. We did everything from Prince came to town to all these other things, but at the end of the day, it's an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world. It helped me understand how to network, how to do things, but that time is gone. Yeah. So when that time left, I had to find something else. I went back to my passion, what grandmother told me. Learn how to play by yourself. What can you creatively do? And I was doing music videos for a lot of local artists. Yeah. Just on my spare time. And so I went to photography, went to go get a degree in photography to better learn lighting for my videos.
All y'all that make fun of me about all these, like, saying I did glamour shots and stuff. Yeah, eat shit. Like,
well, we
sorry,
did.
My boy Biz is really good at it, and I got asked to do that for the lounge. So,
yeah,
I'm just making that little shout out for a couple of you. You know who you are. My few trolls that I already have that are good friends of mine. I mean, I'm joking right now.
They're doing selfies. You had professional shots.
I have Biz with his degree.
Yeah,
getting my lighting
and
right.
That degree wasn't. I literally learned how to light some glasses and some bottles. Everything else I kind of figured out on my own. And anything, damn a degree. You can go to YouTube University and learn any freaking thing
I love that
you want.
I did that when I moved to Connecticut. I had a great teacher that I learned photography. I did a lot of black and white. Like, I need to get back into that. I used to do a lot. If I can get my hands, if I can find a space to put an actual development lab, oh man,
I would shoot black and white film all day.
It's so much fun. When you get to like go produce your own photo, go in the lab.
It's not digital like what we're shooting on now. It's glass, paper, and light.
Yeah,
that's it. Everything else is on you to create.
Yeah,
and when you see black and white photography, people don't understand how much effort goes into it. And it's not like a digital thing where I just try again. You get 12 shots.
No, yeah, exactly.
That's it.
There's a piece of artwork I'm trying to talk my wife into buying right now because it reminds me so much of a photo I took way back in the day and something I also painted back when I used to do that stuff. But yeah, man, like people finding things like that as an outlet and going back to some of this old school, like I think that's what's so amazing about Peter Lick. Like he bought all this badass chromatic Fuji film, like bought all that they had left to print this stuff on. And like, I mean, that's why his prints go for thousands of dollars. Like I know we're going to have to do another show. Like I thought we were going to get to way more than we did today, but I should have known better. Better.
So we got to get to this.
Yeah,
it is the time to wrap her up.
All right,
I got to give you the wrap it up. So we got to get to this.
Yeah, we're going to do this. So we're going to do two things here because we got to wrap it up. Brandon's just going to have to wait 5 more minutes. That's all there is to it.
He said it, Brandon, not I.
Yeah, I did say it. So while you're going to do something that you always harp on me about making sure I do, I've got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 names in here of people that shared the post, people that promoted the show. We're trying to gain more YouTube subscribers. Please, if you guys are enjoying this, share it. Share it with your friends. Tell them what it's about. I mean, there's something someone can be in here. So there are some people that did this. I'm going to name them off real quick, and I'm going to do the randomizer 7 times. I've got all of you entered in here. I'm going to do it 7 times, like I said last, and you're going to win, whether I have to ship it to you or I'll bring it to you. Some of you are from Canada, whatnot. I'll see you in Myrtle Beach next week. Looking forward to that. You get these cigars and this bottle that's been sitting in front of us all night. This bottle of Nulu right here. So, Biz, while I'm running this 7 times, there's something everybody has to do on this show, and it's called Give Us Your 2 cents. You know what it's about.
I do.
You know you can go in whatever direction you want to go. So while I'm doing this, give us your 2 cents.
All right. So while you're doing that, so I guess I would say my 2 cents is something that I've been dealing with and thinking about is find your purpose. A lot of people kind of walk around the world just living life or letting life live for them. I would challenge everybody to find a purpose within themselves, whether it's starting something, whether it's finishing something, whether it's doing something that you never thought you could do. Just try it, because what I've learned is I've lost a lot of friends that I went to school with that are my same age and some younger. Tomorrow's not promised. So I think my 2 cents is definitely try something that you never thought you could. Attempt it. Don't let anything get in the way, and just try to finish it. My biggest problem is finishing things. I've started a million things, and the few things I finish, you feel so justified. Try something and finish it. I think that's one thing that we don't do. Going back to when you was talking about chromatic film and all that black and white.
Yeah,
if you ever want to take photography, you got a phone. Try it. These are becoming pretty cool at it, but just do a body of work. Pick a subject, shoot it. If you've ever wanted to cook a dish or do whatever, just try it. Like I said, anything you're curious about, YouTube and Google will show you how to do it. Whether it's the best way or not, there's several different versions of it. But I think if the world tried to do and finish more, we wouldn't talk about the issues we have with kids now, because you're actually showing your children or showing yourself that different things could be achieved versus letting the world run you.
I couldn't agree more. And I mean, we wouldn't be doing this show if it wasn't for that
This
exact
is your thing.
thing.
You said you've always wanted to do this?
Well,
and
no,
you said,
I didn't even know this is what I wanted to do. Like, literally, I'd wrote about certain things in my journal and, like, trying to figure out a certain outlet. I tried writing, didn't like the writing portion. And then I put myself in a situation. I got asked to be on some podcasts. And then when I was on it, I was like, yo, this is dope. This is what I like. This is a great outlet. Let's roll. And then I put those things into action on my own behalf. Like, I came up with a plan. I talked to others that had done it. We made the plan. We executed the plan. And we're just going to keep rolling with this. So hopefully y'all are enjoying this.
It'll grow.
We're going to do some more things here shortly. We're going to put together some shorter series. I'm going to have Biz doing some more editing, which I know he hates hearing, but like, we're going to put together some shorter stuff because we're seeing that a lot of you like the 30-minute segments. I know this does go a little long at times, but you know, there is a certain group that really likes watching it live, being a part of it. We encourage you to engage, act a little harder tonight because Biz and I are both on here. So we were trying to read, see, and acknowledge what you got going on here. But without further ado, I ran this 7 times. Now I'm not going to get my ass kicked by the karate master. The winner of the cigars and the bottle was Liam Bach, who was in the corner for one of our last episodes.
My man, oh my God.
Yeah. Miguel's brother-in-law. So
wow.
Miguel's brother-in-law, Liam, you are the proud winner of all of this. I'm going to take this with me tonight. I will give it to Miguel to personally deliver to you tomorrow, unless you happen to be at lunch tomorrow with the locals. Otherwise, thank you, everybody else. I'm going to give a quick shout out to all these people on here. So we had Brian Freeze, Ryan Hensley, Brandon Flores, Mitch Oglin, Scott Peterson, Jackie Boyd, and Jonathan Watkins. I can't tell y'all how much we appreciate you guys. Please keep sharing this. We'll get this uploaded onto all the major podcast avenues. You can still go back and find it on Facebook and YouTube. But without further ado, Biz, thank you, brother. This is a blast, and we are going to do this again because shit, you and I could do this for hours.
Well, I'll be behind the screen after this one, but every once in a while I'll just
he'll still have a mic in front of him, y'all. Exactly. Like, that's not changing. We're gonna have Biz a little more involved because I like what Biz adds to this, and I hope you guys do too. Until next time, next week we'll be live from Myrtle Beach. I will be trying to make that happen for y'all while I'm out in Myrtle Beach. We'll see how it goes. It'll be a shorter episode, but it should be really good. We're gonna have my buddy Andy Stewart on. And after that, we are coming at you hot with the Licorice Brothers from Iron Root on the 25th, I believe. So y'all enjoy. Thanks for joining us. Y'all have a good day.